Mike Tirico, NBC Sports host, play-by-play. He's doing it all. He's got Sunday Night Football. He's got the Preakness. What doesn't Mike do? Mike joins us on the program. What don't you do, Mike?
Do I have to sing happy birthday?
That'd be nice. I'd like to hear.
Happy birthday to you. What do you do for your birthday? Do you get a cake? What kind of cake do you like? Special dinner? What's a DP birthday?
You should ask my guys, the Danettes, what they're going to do for me.
No, I want to know what you want. This is about you. It's your day.
Okay. I would say you joining me on the show is a nice birthday gift.
Stop.
I thought we were getting Michael Jordan since he's part of the NBC family. They said, no, it's Michael Tirico. Because I said, I said, get me Michael. And he got me you. But it's
do you
great
remember?
to see.
Wait, it's good. Do you remember when Mark Jones, who's still doing a great job doing the NBA on ESPN? Do you remember when we were all in Bristol and Mark was doing the NBA Today? And Mark would do the shot fake and then the fadeaway jumper at the end of the show, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think Jonesy interviewed Michael after a finals game. That you used to do that a whole bunch too, right? And I think Jonesy said MJ in the house with the other MJ.
Oh yeah.
You remember that?
Yes. But I think Mark Jones used to dribble like behind his back, and then he'd say, if you're at the end of your NBA rope, tie a knot or something. Yeah,
exactly. But I remember when Mark would do that show, and with the analyst on some of those shows, God rest his soul, the great Dr. Jack Ramsey. And Dr. Jack would be sitting in the chair, and Jonesy would be jumping up, faking, and taking the jump, right?
Yeah.
Those are good days. The NBA Today.
Mark Jones. So
Jam Posse.
Yeah. Mark Jones is the first announcer I ever heard say somebody's taking it to the house. And
is that right?
First guy I remember, and I remember management, a couple of members of management no longer there, who said, got to put an end to that.
Oh man, Jonesy. Two things about Jonesy: loves his basketball, awesome vocabulary, great storyteller. Jonesy has been doing games for a long time at a really good level, like one of those people who are underappreciated for the amount of work, the longevity, college hoop, NBA, college football. You're right. I don't remember that specific incident, but I do remember somebody, whether it was you or someone else, saying that Mark was the first guy to say that, taking it to the house, and that's become synonymous with touchdowns. So good for Jonesy. I didn't think we'd talk Jonesy, but there you go.
I didn't either. Okay, so
yes,
do you know what role Michael Jordan plays in the NBA coverage on NBC?
Exactly. No. Special contributor part is what I do know. I think it'll be one of those things that evolves over time. I'm excited that he would even consider doing it.
How would you use him? How would you use him?
How would I? I don't know without talking with him what his level of granular NBA following the league transaction by transaction level is right now. But from time in management and ownership, and obviously the unbelievable playing career, and the way the game has evolved, I think there's a unique space there to hear from Michael where the game is, where it's going. And I'm curious what he thinks about a 3-on-1 and guys run to the 3-point line. I'm curious what he thinks of the guy who wanted to play so often about the amount of play guys have and the style of the way the game is played now on both ends of the floor. So even that alone, I would be curious with. So I don't think it's one of those. You don't want Michael, I don't think, sitting at the desk trading opinions of the moment on this or that. I'd like to hear it at a high level. How that manifests itself, I don't know. I hope I get to be involved with it a little bit. But look, any chance to hear Michael Jordan talk basketball, I'm signing up for. So
yeah,
I'm hoping it involves in something good.
I don't think he's going to be at the desk. I think maybe you could treat it like Kobe did Details, where Kobe kind of went into the lab and said, and you have to have somebody with Mike to kind of help him, guide him along with things. What do you see here? What would you do here? And then maybe you could get that on his terms. So then he can go out and play 36 holes, which is really important.
And you know what? That's our life goal.
Yeah.
We all say, I want to be like Mike. I want to roll up and crank out 36 holes a day. So, look, to have anything related to Michael Jordan connected to the NBA, is really good. I did get to hang out on Monday in New York with Reggie Miller and Jamal Crawford and Vince Carter, part of our team. I saw Mello at the Derby. I'm just excited about our group, and it'll be fun to get back into the league and to do it with guys who are, contemporary to the league and still connected in so many ways. It's going to be a blast, and whatever Michael brings is pretty special.
Mike Tirico, NBC Sports host and play-by-play voice, NBC Sunday Night Football. Also, you're going to be hosting the Preakness Stakes coming up this weekend. At least
I hope so.
You're planning on it.
I'd like to make it through. Yeah, at least get through one race this time.
Okay, when did you know you were in trouble at the Kentucky Derby?
Yeah. So for those who don't know, I have a nut allergy and a severe reaction, which probably every 7 or 8 years it happens. Maybe you just eat something that's contaminated with nuts, and I knew I wasn't feeling well when I got up to the studio, which is above the paddock, which was about 2:15 or so, and I was going on at 2:30. That's when our window started. And when Ahmed Fareed, who did an awesome job of filming, that's a hard show. It's one of the hardest shows that we do every year, just in terms of the moving parts. And Ahmed,
did he bring you your lunch that day?
That's what people are asking, and we have not gotten to the bottom of that. Okay. Investigation continues. At this moment. It's so funny. So many people asked Ahmed that. Like, Ahmed's the nicest person on planet Earth, please.
But you know what? You talk about late scratches. I didn't think it would be an announcer. I thought it would be a horse, Mike.
But do I get credit for the start, Dan? It's like going in to keep your consecutive game streak going. I got the start. I just didn't get to the finish line. So I knew about 10 minutes before I wasn't feeling great, but sometimes you can get past that and you feel better the rest of the day. And I was just starting to get worse, and then your throat closes and all that. So I was in bad shape there in terms of allergy and allergic reaction for a little while. The positive, if there was, other than Ahmed doing a great job, was that I didn't know 30 million Americans have food allergies of some sort. And the fact that, because they said, "Oh, you just want to say you're under the weather," I said, "No, say I had an allergic reaction and I have a nut allergy. There's no reason to hide it. It's the truth." And I heard from so many people, including moms, who said, "Our kid has a nut allergy. Is embarrassed to talk about it. Thanks for bringing it up." So we were able to at least mention that on the Today Show and get that out there. So,
now if it
helps some folks,
you're the spokesperson for nut allergy. Okay.
No, I'm not.
Somehow, you're making money. Now another gig here.
No, there is no, trust me, there is no money involved with that. But did you know, Dan? Did you know?
Okay.
Hi, how are you, Chris? Did you know that May is National Food Allergy Awareness Month?
I do know now.
There you go. I did not know that. Just having fun with a bit that I used to do with Chris Myers on SportsCenter at 2:30 in the morning back in the day. But yeah, anyway, so thankfully Ahmed was here. Thankfully, everybody looked after me. I was fine by Sunday afternoon. And I'm very careful about what I eat always, and extra careful now.
NFL schedule release last night. What stood out?
Hey, you always look for who's in prime time. And I think with more prime time windows in general, it's become a little more interesting to see who gets those extra games. In Kansas City with 7 primetime games, so many games for a team to be in primetime. A lot of the people you'd expect, Dallas with 6, Detroit, Washington 5. But interesting to see teams like Atlanta and the Chargers, maybe teams that the folks in the league think might be good teams that other people aren't thinking about, to see them show up 5 times in prime time. I love the fact that we get to open with Dallas and Philly, and then come back with Josh Allen against Lamar Jackson in Buffalo to open the season, a redo of that playoff game with Baltimore and Buffalo. So we'll be off and running with the Sunday night schedule. It's some good stuff.
Do you read anything into Steelers against the Jets opening week?
I'm very hopeful that we're reading something into Steelers-Packers in mid-October, which, look, on its own, because of the legacy of both franchises, is a great game, right? But, man, if Aaron Rodgers is back with the Packers, or is back with the Steelers, and playing the Packers for probably what would be the only time in his career, man, that would be something incredible. That would be an incredible scene. It would be a special night for all of us involved. So we wait and wonder if Aaron's going to come back or not. And if he does, that'd be pretty cool.
Do you think he will?
I don't know, but whenever he calls McAfee and decides to tell him, I guess we'll all find out. I don't know. My gut is at this point he has to have a decision in his heart, right? Because you're starting to get to that point in May where you're rounding yourself into physical and mental shape, and the Steelers are a good quarterback play away from being more than 9-8, 10-7, and getting in and winning some of those games. I think in that division, it gets magnified, right? When you play Baltimore and you play Cincinnati, you've got to have that play. And Aaron did show at the end of the year he can make that play. So is he willing to be a part of what they do in Pittsburgh and fit right in? I think it would be a cool last chapter. So I'm hopeful. I have no gut feeling at all. I wish I did, but I don't.
The Preakness Stakes after the Kentucky Derby and Sovereignty is not running. And then I wonder, this has happened before. It's not the first time, but is there a way that they can space this out a little more so you do get more people, more eyes on this, and that this stays relevant, stays important to, the sports landscape?
1,000%, Dan. It's pretty easy. You move this race back around Memorial Day weekend or the weekend before, either one. And then you move the Belmont to 4th of July weekend or the weekend before. You have to react to what's happening. Nobody in Major League Baseball is using a 4-man rotation in the regular season because resting pitchers and resting your investment, less starts, has been the way to go. Horse racing is the same thing. They used to wheel horses back every 2 weeks. Now, for the most part, the best thoroughbreds only run once every 4, 5, 6 weeks. That's the normal window. To bring them back on 2 weeks rest from Derby to Preakness never happens during the year for these horses. So then why are you taking 21 plus million people that watch the Kentucky Derby, any momentum you might have built, and give the sport zero chance to build on top of that momentum with Sovereignty? If Sovereignty's going for the second leg of the Triple Crown, maybe it's not Derby Day, but I damn well know sports fans would show up at about 6 o'clock on Saturday to see Kenny win the second and then build for the Belmont. The Triple Crown's been around for 140 some odd years, and you don't want to mess with tradition. I got it. But if you can't follow this idea with anything that works right now in the sport, then we're hurting the sport. So it would behoove everyone involved. Problem is,
I see what
Maryland's
you did with
its own
that.
Entity.
Behoove. Okay. Behoove.
Oh, I didn't. But thank you. That's why
you're
you're always the best.
That's
why you're always the best.
See what you're doing.
It would be smart for the sport. And Maryland does its own thing. So does Kentucky. So does New York. So does California. So does Florida. And you talk about college football needing a commissioner. This sport needs a commissioner.
Have fun this weekend. Be careful what you eat.
Thank you, pal. Happy birthday. Seriously, happy birthday.
Thank you, Mike.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah, all the best.
Mike Tirico. He'll be there. The Preakness Stakes, Saturday, 4 Eastern on NBC and Peacock.